yamunatiravanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Prabhupada Jai Jai Prabhupada Jai Shri Radha Madhava ki Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Gaura Premanande Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyutama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike Grantharaj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam I. So it is interesting that in the 6th chapter of the 1st canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Narad Muni gave a very nice instruction to Srila Vyasadeva, where he said, Etad yatu rachitanam matres parset chayamuhu bhava sindhu plavo dristo haricharyan varnanam. So, bhava sindhu plavo dristo, for those who aspire to cross over the material existence, haricharyan varnanam, he should constantly glorify the pastime of Lord Kṛṣṇa. Yeah. So the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is full of narration of Kṛṣṇa and his devotees. Yeah. It is also interesting that Srila Prabhupada, in the preface of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, toward the end, he quoted the verse where it is mentioned that namani anantasya yaso nikitanyat srinvanti gayanti grinanti sadavaha. So the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is full of the narration of Krishna's pastimes, the glories of his name. So it should be accepted by the whole world actually, because that's like tadvag visargo janataga viplavo yasmin pratislokam abhidhāsyāmi. That will give the revolution to the misdirected civilization of man. So would like to welcome all of you to our discussion today on the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Today we are reading the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 2nd canto, 1st chapter entitled The First Step in God Realization, text number 10. This is quite a long purport. Tadaham te bhidhāsyāmi mahā-pauruṣiko bhavān. Yasya śraddadhatām asu syān mukunde matiḥ satī tadāhaṁ te bhidhāsyāmi mahā-pauruṣiko bhavān. Yasya śraddadhatām asu syān mukunde matiḥ satī tadāhaṁ te bhidhāsyāmi mahā-pauruṣiko bhavān. Yasya śraddadhatām asu syān mukunde matiḥ satī. Please chant. Ahaṁ te abhidhāsyāmi mahā-pauruṣiko bhavān. Yasya śraddadhatām asu syān mukunde matiḥ satī tadāhaṁ te bhidhāsyāmi mahā-pauruṣiko bhavān. Yasya śraddadhatām asu syān mukunde matiḥ satī tadāhaṁ te bhidhāsyāmi mahā-pauruṣiko bhavān. Yasya śraddadhatām asu syān mukunde Mataji's. Tadāhaṁ te bhidhāsyāmi mahā-pauruṣiko bhavān. Yasya śraddadhatām asu syān mukunde matiḥ satī. That aham, I, te, unto you, abhidhāsyāmi, shall recite mahā-pauruṣikaḥ, the most sincere devotee of Lord Kṛṣṇa. Bhavān, your good self. Yasya, of which. Śraddadhatām, of one who gives full respect and attention. Asu, very soon. Syāt, it so becomes. Mukunde, unto the Lord, who words salvation. Matiḥ, faith. Satī, unflinching. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. That very Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam I shall recite before you, because you are the most sincere devotee of Lord Kṛṣṇa, one who gives full attention and respect to hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam achieves unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord, the giver of salvation. Kindly repeat. That very Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam I shall recite before you, because you are the most sincere devotee of Lord Kṛṣṇa, one who gives full attention and respect to hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam achieves unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord, the giver of salvation. Purport. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is recognized Vedic wisdom, and the system of receiving Vedic knowledge is called avaroha pantha, or the process of receiving transcendental knowledge through bona fide disciplic succession. For advancement of material knowledge, there is a need for personal ability and searching aptitude and researching aptitude. But in the case of spiritual knowledge, all progress depends more or less on the mercy of the spiritual master. The spiritual master must be satisfied with the disciple. Only then is knowledge automatically manifest before the student of spiritual science. The process should not, however, be misunderstood to be something like magical feats whereby the spiritual master acts like a magician and injects spiritual knowledge into his disciple, as if surcharging him with an electrical current. The bona fide spiritual master reasonably explains everything to the disciple on the authorities of the Vedic wisdom. The disciple can receive such teachings not exactly intellectually, but by submissive inquiries and a service attitude. The idea is that both the spiritual master and the disciple must be bona fide. In this case, the spiritual master, Śrīmad Goswami, is ready to recite exactly what he has learned from his great father, Srila Vyasadeva, and the disciple, Maharaj Pariksit, is a great devotee of Lord Kṛṣṇa. A devotee of Lord Kṛṣṇa is he who believes sincerely that by becoming a devotee of the Lord, one becomes fully equipped with everything spiritual. This teaching is imparted by the Lord himself in the pages of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavad-gītā, in which it is clearly described that the Lord, Sri Krishna, is everything, and that to surrender unto him solely and wholly makes one the most perfectly pious man. This unflinching faith in Lord Kṛṣṇa prepares one to become a student of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And one who hears Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from a devotee like Śrīmad Goswami is sure to attain salvation at the end, as Maharaj Pariksit did. The professional reciter of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and the pseudo-devotees whose faith is based on 1 week's hearing are different from Śrīmad Goswami and Maharaj Pariksit. Srila Vyasadeva explained Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam unto Śrīmad Goswami from the very beginning of the Janma Yasya verse. And so Śrīmad Goswami also explained it to the king. Lord Kṛṣṇa is described as the mahā-pauruṣa in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 11, in his devotional feature as Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Kṛṣṇa himself in his devotional attitude, descended on earth to bestow special favors upon the fallen souls of this age of Kali. There are 2 verses particularly suitable to offer as prayers to this mahā-pauruṣa feature of Lord Kṛṣṇa. Dhyeyaṁ sadā paribhava-ghnam abhīṣṭa-dohaṁ tīrthāspadaṁ syīva-viriñci-nutaṁ śraddadhatām bhidhāsyāmi pranatapala bhavabdhipotam vande mahā-pauruṣate charanārabindam tyaktva sadustya jasures pitarajya lakshmim dharmishta arya vachasa yadagad aranyam mayam rigam dayita yepsitam anvadhavad vande mahā-pauruṣate charanārabindam. So this is from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 11th Canto, Chapter 5, text 33 and 34. In other words, Purusha means the enjoyer and mahā-pauruṣa means the supreme enjoyer. or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. One who deserves to approach the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is called the mahā-pauruṣiko. Anyone who hears Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam attentively from its bona fide reciter is sure to become a sincere devotee of the Lord, who is able to award liberation. There was none so attentive as Maharaj Pariksit in the matter of hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and there was none so qualified as Shukadeva Goswami to recite the text of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Therefore, anyone who follows in the footsteps of either the ideal reciter or the ideal hearer, Shukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Pariksit respectively, will undoubtedly attain salvation like them. Maharaj Pariksit attained salvation by hearing only, and Shukadeva Goswami attained salvation only by reciting. Recitation and hearing are two processes out of 9 devotional activities, and by strenuously following the principles, either in all or by parts, one can attain the absolute plane. So the complete text of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, beginning with the Janma Yasya verse up to the last one in the 12th canto, was spoken by Shukadeva Goswami for the attainment of salvation by Pariksit Maharaj. In the Padma Purana, it is mentioned that Gautama Muni advised Maharaj Ambarish to hear regularly Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as it was recited by Shukadeva Goswami, and herein it is confirmed that Maharaj Ambarish heard Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from the beginning to the end, as it was spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. One who is actually interested in the Bhagavatam, therefore, must not play with it by reading or hearing a portion from here and a portion from there. One must follow in the footsteps of great kings like Maharaj Ambarish or Maharaj Pariksit, and hear it from a bona fide representative of Shukadeva Goswami. End of the purport. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pachitya Desatarini. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangunglam hayate girim. Yat kripatam hang bande Sri Gurun Dinataranam. Paramananda madhavam Sri Chaitanya-ishwaram. Kadanchana smrite yasmin duskaram sukaram bhavet. Vismrite viparitam syat Sri Chaitanya namamitam. I'll read the translation again. That very Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam I shall recite before you, because you are the most sincere devotee of Lord Kṛṣṇa. One who gives full attention and respect to hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam achieves unflinching faith in the Supreme, the giver of salvation. So this verse is actually giving an indication what is the qualification of a person to become a good hearer of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Yeah. Here it is mentioned that attentively, yeah. Śraddadhatām means to be attentive. Yeah. So that is the qualification. Sadā means also faith. Yeah. And faith means one becomes a devotee. Becoming a devotee means to accept the authority of Lord Kṛṣṇa. Yeah. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada in the beginning explaining about the importance of accepting the spiritual knowledge, transcendental knowledge, from a bona fide spiritual master. So both the disciples and the spiritual master should be qualified. Srila Prabhupada gives a very nice analogy. Just like a man and woman, when they get married, if they expect to beget a child, so both men and women should be fertile. yeah, should be healthy. Then the union will produce a child. So if we want to get the result of hearing the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, so we have to be qualified as disciples, and the person who recites also should be qualified. So here is the perfect example of Sukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Pariksit. Even Srila Prabhupada mentioned nobody compared to these two personalities, as good as these two personalities could recite and also hear very attentively. Yeah. So transcendental knowledge is, of course, very, very essential, and hearing is the basic, the foundation of our spiritual life in Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Krishna explained in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, yeah, the first verse, Maya sakta mana partha yoga yunjan madashraya asangsayam samagramam yatha yasya tatrinu. He mentioned tatrinu, O Arjun, listen from me. Srila Prabhupada emphasized in his purport the importance of hearing. Even he quoted, if you see the purport of that verse, 7.1 Bhagavad Gita, he quoted the 5 verses from the first canto, chapter 2, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, starting from Srinvatam Swatkata Krishna, till the Vidyate Hridaya Grantis. Yeah. So, hearing seems to be very easy, but it is actually giving so much benefit in our growth, in our progress in Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Asangsayam samagramam. So Lord Krishna says, undoubtedly, you will attain the highest perfection simply by hearing. The example is here, Maharaj Pariksit. Yeah. And the qualification to hear, of course, Krishna also explained in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the first verse. Yeah. Idam tute guhyatamam pravakshyami anasuyave. The word anasuyu means non-envious. Non-envious means to accept what is the authority says. Yeah. Lord Krishna says something in the Bhagavad Gita, so Arjuna accept that. So that is his qualification, being non-envious. Jnanam vijnanam sahitam yad gyatva mokshase asubhat. Krishna says, when you get this transcendental knowledge, hearing very attentively with full faith, So, asubhat, subha means auspicious. Asubha means not auspicious, miseries. Yeah. Mokshase, Krishna says, mokshase means you will be delivered. You will be delivered from all types of miseries in this material world simply by hearing. Yeah. So we have to hear attentively and full of faith. If we hear without faith, then what happened? Śraddadhatām purusha dharmasya syaparantapa aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani. So we'll fall down again. Yeah, we come back to the material world. Mrityu samsara vartmani. Yeah, because hearing without faith is useless. Your guru may say so many different things, but if you don't have faith to your guru, then what is the use of hearing? Just like you approach a teacher teaches you something, and you don't have faith, that means you don't want to accept his teaching, that you are simply wasting time. So hearing, and of course, hearing cannot be separated from glorifying. Yeah, śravanam, kirtanam. These two things actually should be there all the time. Then smaranam will come automatically. Yeah, tasmat bharata sarvatma bhagavan ishvaro harihi srotavya kirtitavya cha smartavya chaichata bhayam. So these three things, srota means to hear, kirtitavya cha, to chant, to glorify, and then smaranam will come. Yeah, so this is a process. Srila Prabhupada mentioned these two things, Shravanam and Kirtanam. They are the first two things out of the 9 devotional items described by Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto. Yeah. Simply by engaging our ear, simply by engaging our tongue, we can achieve perfection. Yeah. If we don't use our ear and our tongue, in hearing and glorifying the glories of Lord Kṛṣṇa and his devotees, then what happened? Sri Sonaka Muni, Sonaka Adirishi, later in the 3rd chapter of this canto, will tell us what happened to our ear and our tongue. Bile batoru kramavi kramanye na srinvata karnapute narasya jihva sati dardurike vasuta na chopagayati urugaya gataha. So na srinvata karnapute narasya. One's ear, the whole of our ears, is as good as the whole of a snake if we don't engage our ear in hearing the narration of Krishna. And then jihva sati dardurike vasuta. And our tongue will become as good as the tongue of a frog, simply croaking, inviting death. Yeah? And Srila Prabhupada, in his purport to that verse, emphasized on the word asati, jiva sati. So sati means faithful. Yeah? Asati means unfaithful. And Srila Prabhupada said asati means the quality possessed by a prostitute. That means our tongue is unfaithful if we don't engage our tongue in glorifying Krishna Katha or glorifying his devotees. Yeah? Because Krishna and his devotees cannot be separated. Whenever we discuss about Krishna's pastimes, his devotees, his pure devotees, will automatically come to picture. Yeah? Sritasya pumsam suchira sramasya nanvanjasa sauribir editoritaha tatat guna anu shravana mukunda padaravinda hridayesu yesam. So we are not simply hearing about Krishna's pastimes, but also his devotees. Yeah? Mukunda pada aravinda hridayesu. Meaning a person who carry Lord Mukunda within his heart, and his glories should be also heard, should be also sung. Yeah? And then hearing the narration or the pastimes of a pure devotee is actually as potent as hearing the narration or pastime of Lord Kṛṣṇa himself. Yeah? One time when Srila Prabhupada gave a class, so there was his disciple, a Mataji. So she raised her hand and asked a question. So this Mataji said that, Prabhupada, you are explaining very elaborately, very nicely about the importance of remembering Krishna, especially at the time of death. What if, she said, what if I cannot remember Krishna at the time of death? Instead, I remember you. Will that have the same effect? And then Srila Prabhupada, he closed his eyes, paused for some time, and then Prabhupada opened his eyes and he said, yes, it has the same effect. Yeah? So remembering Srila Prabhupada, a pure devotee, is actually as good as remembering Krishna. Because Prabhupada never separated from Krishna, not even a moment. Yeah? So Srila Prabhupada, being a pure devotee, of course, a pure devotee means avyartha kala. He never wastes his time. Yeah, this is one of the symptoms, 9 symptoms of bhava, a person who is in bhava, avyartha kala. He never wastes his time, constantly engaged in Krishna's service. Yeah, no matter what, no matter in any situation, happiness or distress, he remained engaged in Krishna's service, glorifying Krishna. Yeah, so in the purport, Srila Prabhupada also mentioned about Krishna being the mahā-purusha, or he's the supreme enjoyer. Yeah. Well, of course, sometimes we have this tendency to enjoy because we are part and parcel of Krishna. Yeah, mama-ivam sujiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. We are part and parcel of Krishna. Naturally, we inherit that quality of Lord Krishna being the Purusha. Therefore, we have this tendency, but in the minute quantity. Yeah, in minute quantity. But Krishna is the topmost enjoyer. He's the supreme enjoyer, the mahā-purusha. Yeah? So everything is meant for his enjoyment. We are meant to be enjoyed by the Lord. Yeah? We are meant to be enjoyed by the Lord. But this tendency is actually deep-rooted within our heart because we've been acting rebelliously against the Lord for millions of lifetimes. Yes. Therefore, the chanting of the holy names, yeah, will actually undoubtedly purify one's heart, and one can come to that platform. Srila Prabhupada mentioned here in his purport, in the absolute platform. What does it mean? In our original position as the eternal servant of the Lord. Yeah. So the next verse actually very beautiful. It glorifies about the constant chanting of the holy names. Yeah. Etan nirvidyamananam ichatamakuto bhayam yoginam ripanirnitam hare namanukirtanam. So the constant chanting of the holy names is actually fearless way, undoubtedly, to attain success. Yeah, constant chanting. Why it's mentioned abhayam or fearless? Because Krishna himself present in his holy name and he protects the devotees. So I remember one of your god brother, Kishore Das Prabhu. So he narrates a beautiful pastime of Srila Prabhupada. One time Srila Prabhupada was in London. He was in his room. He has conversation with some devotees in his room. So while having conversation, so he heard that some sounds of kartals clashing. That means devotees preparing to go out for Sankirtan. Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada stopped to speak, and then he peeped from his window and seeing the devotees getting ready to go out for Sankirtan. Srila Prabhupada has really big smile. He said that almost touching his ear. Yeah. And then Srila Prabhupada sat down again, and then he said, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will personally protect them. So that protection is a guaranteed by which actually we can become abhaya or fearless. Yeah. So the chanting of the holy names or to go out for Sankirtan, that guarantees our protection. Yeah. In the year of 2015, I was in Cambodia, so there are only handful of devotees in that place. So my service was like, well, I took like pujari service, cleaning service, cooking service, everything. But of course, my priority is to go out for Harinam. Well, you may think that every time Vishnurat gives class, he will talk about Harinam. Yeah. Well, it is because I'm Vishnurat, forgive me. So, I took my friend to go out to the center of the town to do the Harinam. And there was one devotee also. I took him. He's from UK, from London. So there are three of us. We perform the Harinam. So, of course, we set up a book table and we start chanting the holy names. And then suddenly, a dark cloud came. So I told my friend, we have to pack up now. We have to go home. We have to run. And I asked this devotee from UK to bring the mridanga. He has bicycle. He was complaining actually. He said, what? And then I gave him the mridanga, and then I took the harmonium, and then we just, ran. Not running, we have motorbike. And then just after a few minutes, heavy rain just pouring down. So we all got drenched, me and my friend. He was riding in the front, and I was on the back carrying the harmonium. And, it's like really heavy rain. We couldn't see properly the road. So my friend, somehow he just went to the middle of the road. And there was a car with a very high speed just hit us. I was flying on the air, and I keep hugging the harmonium. and I failed, so the harmonium just crashed, you know. The motorbike, I remember the light in the front was broken, and then the handbrake was also broken. The harmonium was broken. And we, two devotees, there was nothing happened. Not even a scratch. And my friend was just like stunned, you know. Because everybody was screaming. Those who watched, those who saw us, they were screaming. I was thinking that that's the end of life, but not even a scratch. You see how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu protect his devotees. I mean, I'm not trying to be a self-aggrandizement here, but that's the fact. You know, we should not doubt the statement of the acharyas. We should not doubt the statement of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Yeah. Then I was thinking that if I, a person who tried to surrender to Krishna, and what to speak of a person who really sincere to surrender to Krishna, go out to preach every single day, yeah, Krishna consciousness, Krishna will be very, very pleased, and his protection is guaranteed. Well, of course, we understand that the real protection is protection of the soul, but sometimes Krishna does protect the physical body also. Yeah, he protects the physical body. So just try to please Krishna somehow or other, please the spiritual master somehow or other. That protection will guarantee our success. Yeah. In a morning walk, Srila Prabhupada, there was one devotee was asking a question to Srila Prabhupada. He said that, Srila Prabhupada, a flower is considered very beautiful when it has fragrance. A woman is considered very beautiful when she gives a child. My question is that, when is a disciple considered to be beautiful? So now he was thinking like, I nail it. Because he asked Srila Prabhupada the question in such a way, in a very poetic manner. So he thought that Prabhupada will be impressed. But what happened, Srila Prabhupada just ignored that question and he kept walking. Because Prabhupada knew his intention, he wants to be, he tried to be, you know, smart in the front of Srila Prabhupada, you know. Of course, here Srila Prabhupada mentioned submissive, approaching submissively, yeah, inquiring submissively, and we have to have a service attitude. But of course, later on the same day, so he was in Srila Prabhupada's room, and Srila Prabhupada has conversation, and then Srila Prabhupada was asking a question, so how to please Krishna? And then he answered the question, the same devotee answered the question by quoting the eighth prayer of the Guru Asakam, yasya prasadat bhagavad prasadam. And then Srila Prabhupada said, he said that by pleasing the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, Krishna will be pleased. And then Srila Prabhupada said, yes, by pleasing the spiritual master, Krishna will be pleased. When Krishna is pleased because of the disciples satisfying the spiritual master, at that time the disciple is considered to be very beautiful. Yeah. So we try, of course, to the best of our ability to please our Guru, to please Krishna, you know. That's the goal of our existence, actually. The goal of our existence is to please Krishna. Yeah. I remember when I was in Bangkok, you know, I was in Bangkok for Ratha Yatra. I think like 5 years ago, I went there, and then the pujari, he told me, you know, in the front of Radha Govinda, he told me, Prabhu, without service, our life is nothing. I said, yes, that's true. And then he repeated again, Prabhu, you know, without service to Krishna, our life is nothing. And in my mind, so proudly I thought, yes, I know, you don't have to tell me twice. And then after some time, he told me the same thing again. Prabhu, you know, without service to Krishna, our life is nothing. And then when I heard that for the third time, then I start to contemplate. I think Krishna wants to speak to me through this nice devotee. And that's true. Without service to Krishna, our life is nothing. Yeah, our life is nothing. So service actually perfects our life. Just like Srila Prabhupada gave the example, just like we decorate ourselves and then we see the mirror. If we decorate ourselves nicely, beautifully, we also see the mirror. Our reflection will be beautiful. So when we serve Krishna, we try to please Krishna. So it will reflect back to us. Some devotees ask questions to me like, Prabhu, how do we know? Is it really the service that we do pleasing Krishna or not? Yeah. So how to assess the situation? It's actually simple. If we happy while performing the service, that's actually an indication that Krishna is happy. Yeah. Yatha taror mula nisechanena tripyanti tat skanda bhujopasakaha pranopaharaccha yatindriyanam tataiva sarvarhanam achuteja. Yeah. So this verse is mentioned by Narad Muni in the 4th canto. It's a very beautiful analogy. Yatha taror mula nisechanena, just like a person water the root of a tree, will automatically nourish the branch, the twig, the leaves, the flowers. Yeah. So similarly, pranopaharaccha yatindriyanam, if we feed the stomach, that will nourish all other senses. So achyuta ija means if we worship Krishna, if Krishna is pleased, so the whole universe will be pleased, including us, part and parcel of Krishna. Because if you think these hands wants to be happy, wants to get some energy by grabbing some food, chewing by itself, it won't work like that. So these hands should serve the stomach, take the food, feed the stomach, then automatically it gets the energy. Yeah. So that's the perfection of the hands, when the hands serve the body. So that's our perfection when we serve Krishna. When we serve Krishna. So service is actually the ultimate goal in our life. Of course, liberation is also important, but that's considered to be secondary. Yeah, that's considered to be secondary. Service is very important. Yeah. Of course, in our level, at least on my level, liberation is very important, because the liberation that a Vaishnava or a Vaishnavi wants is liberation on the same place with Krishna in Vaikuntha Loka, and devotees will reject the impersonal liberation. Yeah, because our principle is that service is eternal. Yeah, even service is continued after one gets liberation. The opposite, the Mayavadi thinks service is finished when he gets liberation, but that's not the fact. Service will be continued forever, either in this life, in the next life, in this world, or in the spiritual world. Yeah, and service start from chanting of the holy names. Yeah, etavan eva loke esmin pumsam dharma parasmrita bhakti yogo bhagavati tanama grahana adibihi. So tanama grahana means to accept the holy name. To chant means to accept. Tanama grahana adibihi. Adi means the beginning. So when a person starts chanting the holy name, his service is started. His service is started. So another pastime also of Srila Prabhupada, when he about to go out for a morning walk, so the car was ready in the front of the temple, and the devotees came out with Srila Prabhupada, and there was a hippie. He was totally drunk, he was smelly and dressed like really badly. Of course, he was making fun of Srila Prabhupada, because on before this morning on the Sunday program, he came to our center, to our Hare Krishna center, and enjoyed prasadam, listened to the kirtan. So he greeted Srila Prabhupada in a mocking way, making fun of Srila Prabhupada. He just said, Hare Krishna, Swamiji, like this. Srila Prabhupada just laughed. He just laughed, Srila Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada entered the car and then told all the devotees, his devotional service just begins. Srila Prabhupada ki. So I will read the translation again. Were there any comments, corrections, blessings, questions? Translation. That very Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam I shall recite before you, because you are the most sincere devotee of Lord Kṛṣṇa, one who gives full attention and respect to hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam achieves unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord, the giver of salvation. Hare Krishna. We have like 10 minutes. Yes, Prabhu in the front. You can wait for the microphone so everybody can hear you. Thank you.
In the class we hear that it's useless to listen without faith, and we also hear that faith is rewarded to one who hears. So can you explain that?
Thank you so much. This is $1 million questions. It seems that Vishnurat is saying something contradiction. Well, of course, hearing, there is no I would say it's always have some effect on the hearing. There is no loss in hearing. Yeah, there is no loss in hearing. There is no loss in performing devotional service, especially hearing. Yeah, even especially when you hear the holy names, when you hear the holy name, even by chance, you know, not attentively. Or when somebody performs Sankirtan, you just walk, you hear it by chance, you get so much benefit. Yeah. I forgot, there is a very beautiful sloka explaining about this from the 8th canto mentioned by Sukracharya. Yeah. Anyway, today is not a very lucky day to recite a sloka. But that's the effect, you know. Simply by hearing, especially the holy names, even by chance, you get purification. Yeah. But when we want to get the full result of hearing, then we have to be very attentive. Yeah. So there is no contradiction here. When I said useless, that means we don't get the gain as much as we aspire. As much as we aspire, we don't get that gain when we don't hear it with faith, you know. Purification will take place, of course. Yeah, there is no doubt about that. But if we want advancement on the faster speed, so we have to have faith. And of course, how to gain the faith is through constant hearing. How to get the taste? Through constant practice. Yeah. We may now don't have the taste to hear, don't have the taste to chant, but if we just perform the same service over and over again, so automatically purification will take place and we develop the taste. Yeah, Shat Krishna Nama Charita Disitapya Vidya Pito Patata Rasanasana Rochikanu Kintwadarad Anudinam Kalosaiva Justam Swadvi Kramat Bhavatitat Gada Mulahantri. Rupa Goswami explained. Yeah, Anudina means every day. Every day come to Bhagavatam class. Every day chant the holy name. Perform the same service every day. You will get the same, you will get taste for that, rasa. Yeah, just like a person who is affected by jaundice. Whatever you eat, whatever he eats, will taste bitter. But if he eats sugar candy every single day, so one fine day he will taste that, oh, actually sugar is sweet. That's actually an indication that he gets cured. Yeah. So similarly, we may now hearing Bhagavatam or any Krishna's pastimes just like that. Maybe you don't feel something that in your heart you really hear it with faith, but simply continuing that. You will get the taste. Yeah. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavitamati kriyatamam yadi kuto pilabhyate tatra laulyam api mulam ekalam janma koti sukritairna labhyate. There is only one way how to develop taste in Krishna service. Tatra laulyam apimulam ekalam. Simply by becoming greedy in that service. So yes, like that, there is no loss in hearing, especially you hear the chanting of the holy names. But if you want to get the topmost, the utmost result, you have to hear it with faith. Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Thank you for the class. You said when you are happy in service, that's when we know that Krishna is happy with our service. When I was hearing this, a story of Prabhupada came to my mind. So his disciple was massaging Prabhupada, and he honestly said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I don't feel any love when I massage you. And Prabhupada said, this is love. What you're doing is a sign of love. So sometimes we do our service, but as a duty, but not in a happy mood. But we still continue to please Krishna. But we don't feel happy sometimes because of it's out of responsibility. So is it also Krishna will be happy? Is it pleasing Krishna as well?
Yeah. Thank you. That pastime actually with Srutakirti Prabhu. Thank you for reminding me that pastimes. Actually what happened was in the airport when Srila Prabhupada just arrived in the airport along with Srutakirti Prabhu, his servant, so he saw that all the devotees was chanting so enthusiastically. Some devotees crying with tears. And he could see actually so much love that they have for Srila Prabhupada. And then when Srutakirti Prabhu was massaging Srila Prabhupada, he asked that question. Srila Prabhupada, I saw that all these devotees, they have so much love for you, but I don't feel it. I don't feel it. Prabhupada didn't respond immediately. And then he kept continuing massaging, and Srila Prabhupada asking him, oh no, later when after that massage finished, so he cooked lunch for Srila Prabhupada, and then Srila Prabhupada, when one chapati finished, he would ring his bell. That means bring another chapati. So he was cooking, Srutakirti Prabhu was cooking and brought the chapati in, offered the obeisances. And then Prabhupada just asked a question to Srutakirti Prabhu, are you happy with your service? And then Srutakirti said, oh yes, Srila Prabhupada, very much. And Prabhupada said, that is love. You may don't feel it. You may don't feel enthusiastic sometimes. You may don't feel happy while performing service. But the fact that you are continuing your service, that's actually love. That's please Krishna. You know what? Every single day, sometimes this has happened to me, when I about to go out for Harinam, I feel like, during the day is so hot, tired, this and that. Your wife asks you to do so many things, And I feel like, let me just sleep today, take rest, But then I thought, well, just like you ride a bicycle, you have to push the pedal in the beginning, and it will move. As soon as it moves, even sometimes if you don't cycle it, it will continue moving. So I just said, okay, let me take bath, get fresh, and just go. And then, as soon as I reach there, the kirtan start, it just continue like that. And I tell you what, every single day, we experience the ecstasy on Harinam. You want to experience, you have to come. So that pleases Krishna. The fact you continuing your service, that is love. Doesn't matter what. Just like in a relationship, husband and wife, they will fight like anything, but the fact that they remain together, that's an indication that is love. And Krishna is Bhavagrahi Janardana. He just see that love. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Gaura Premanande. Thank you.